Hey guys, Island Turtle here. Welcome to BOMISpirit. Oh my god. Normally I do Aloha Fridays lives in the morning. I was not in the right space to do it this morning, and I actually spent the last I guess couple hours, really an hour of recording time, trying to do the Astro Talk for Mercury retrograde. Um, Unfortunately, that did not go according to plan either, so I had to delete it. So maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And I just figured, you know what? I'm just gonna hang out. I'm just gonna go live and hang with you guys and see what you guys are up to. I know it takes a little bit for people to kind of climb in here. Hi, Diana. Hello. We may or may not pull cards. I haven't decided yet, but um, the reason that it just like wasn't working. First of all, I just think like maybe it wasn't the right time to record, but also my throat has been very unhappy. And so also just be patient with me as we hang out and like this stuff starts like going. I've got plenty of water, I've got plenty of tissues. It's been a really long time since my throat has been this bad. So I've just been kind of dealing, but it was like, oh yeah, I forgot how frustrating this is. But hi, hello. I was not expecting this live. Neither was I. Aloha, hi, aloha. Um, but I hope your guys' weeks have been good. Is this just starting? Yes, it's just starting. It's just starting. I feel like today, especially because I was focused on the Mercury retrograde energy, was totally just what to expect with Mercury retrograde. I'm so tempted to talk about it because I was literally like, I did all my notes and I was geared up to do the whole Astro talk, like to give you dates, to give you my point of view, to talk about aspects. I even was going to do all the signs too instead of just the collective. And an hour in, I couldn't stop coughing. And I also didn't feel like I was very articulate in how I expressed myself in the video. I'm way more articulate now, but like I think that's just the Mercury retrograde energy. And I've had a lot of weird distractions and things that have been keeping me from being able to channel and record too, which is very part of this Mercury retrograde. So I was like, I ended it, I deleted it, and I'm like, tomorrow. Like, tomorrow, just doing it tomorrow. I've had the throat stuff. I'm so sorry. I feel better. Oh, thank you. I honestly think it's energetic. I do, just based off of some things that have been happening and going on the last few days, couple days. I don't know, time is weird. Um, when the camera moved the other day, whoa, oh, yeah, yeah, it happens. It happens. Um, but I will say just a couple announcements. So tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, I will be live on Patreon to do the New Moon Leo hangout, talk, etc. So that'll be over there, and then it will post to Vimeo probably Sunday or Monday. And now I will be doing the Astro Talk tomorrow as well, which will immediately post to Patreon. Patrons get early access for that. And if you want to be a patron, you're not sure you want to be, just like make sure you read the benefits. Some people just sign up not reading the benefits at all. So just know like which one you want to choose. Excuse me. But all of my Astro Talk videos will get me early access over there, and then that will post Monday. This is my plan. We'll see if it holds. This Mercury retrograde is all about disrupting plans, so we'll see. I'm gonna try. And I was gonna do signs tonight as well, but I don't know. It's getting late. I'm already like, I already feel like a mess. So maybe I'll do that Sunday for patrons, and then that'll post during the week as mentioned previously. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I hope you guys have been doing good. I hope this has been a really good week for everybody. Uh, do it, y'all. It's great. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. And thanks for hanging out with me this Friday night. I know Friday is like the night for people to go out, even though this has been like, I think for most people, this has been the summer of hermiting and the summer of like isolating, which I know is not typical for most people. Um, that Saturn Pisces energy, man, it's just been the vibe. It's just been the thing. And I can say confidently after looking at all of Mercury retrograde, including the moon cycles, wrapped up in the retrograde phase and the post shadow phase, August, as I clear my throat, August is definitely going to be a time. Oh, there we go. I was like, I knew I had more chat coming in. I never go out, lol. Scorpio reading was tight. I bought part two. Oh, thanks. Um, August is definitely a month of refinement. Even if you're going to feel like you don't want to do that. And obviously, it's going to be different for everybody, depending on what's going on. Yeah, and depending on where things hit your houses. Actually, if you guys want to, I mean, I could talk about it a little bit. Like I said, I was totally prepared to talk about it, um, especially with just like certain signs and like how that could manifest very differently for some people. Like, obviously, with Mercury retrograde, it's like Virgo, Leo energy, right? But Chiron is playing a big role, Uranus is playing a big role, and Mars and Jupiter are playing a big role. So Gemini is really important for this particular retrograde phase. Thank you for all your wonderful videos. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know what I would do without them. Oh, it feels good to hear that. I've been doing this for a long time, and like, wait, hold on. Let me back up before I do. Let me back up before I say anything else. I've been doing this for a long time. And so it's nice to get, oh my God, my voice. So it's nice to get positive feedback and just confirmation that like what I'm doing does help people. Because sometimes it could feel not so much like that, but it's good to get that confirmation. So thank you. It has been intense. Oh, sorry. Refreshing to know. I'm an August baby, and they always say August to be a fun month. They do say that. They do say that. I've mentioned this so many times before, but August 19th, especially when I went over at my notes, I was like, damn. I was like, damn. So my advice going into this month, especially once the retrograde kicks in on the 4th, focus on refining your communication, how you cooperate with people or don't, your personal vision, what your unique life experience has taught you and how you can utilize that. Refine, 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 refine is my best advice. August is going to come also with a lot of impulsive, restless energy and like feelings of, I need to act now. There's not enough time. I need to be heard. I have it all figured out. Oh my God, that's it. But that's not it. There's going to be a lot more insights and breakthroughs to come. Like, that's kind of the cool thing about this retrograde, is that there are going to be breakthroughs that come about unexpectedly, especially when things get disrupted and when your plans and flow get disrupted. And so the gift is just let like the breakthrough and insights show you what you haven't seen, but just know that they will continue for an extended period of time. August 19th, I think we're going to see a lot of people jump the gun, to be honest with you, like jumping the gun on releasing or revealing information, even on a global standpoint. I also think we're going to see people like be a little bit too pushy or dominant or aggressive with what they feel so passionate and strongly about, when it's really a time where we're still learning how to cooperate with each other, you know? So many things I just want to say. Can you tell? I'm just like, oh wait, but there's this, and then there's this, and then there's that. But also what's interesting about August 19th as well, there's this like impulsive, restless energy to get in the mix, to go and talk, to go and share, to go and do. There's so much energy emphasizing how important it is to be alone around that time and to refine, 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 refine. So yeah, August 19th is going to be interesting. What I missed? Nothing. I'm just nothing. I'm already having Mercury retrograde woes, and so I also came over here to just share that and also talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde. I will say Gemini, Aries, and Leo are the most important signs for the next like 6 weeks, for sure. And obviously it's going to affect everybody differently, and this can be a really beautiful retrograde phase where we do learn and grow a lot on how we deal with each other and how we bring our unique selves and gifts and etc. to the table, all of that. But Gemini, depending on what house Gemini falls in for you guys, or for all of us I should say, it could just look so different. Excuse me. And I talked about that in the video that I deleted. I will be speaking on it more eloquently tomorrow, okay? And again, that will post on Monday on YouTube, but it'll be for patrons this weekend. But Gemini, because it's backed by Mars and Jupiter, it's a lot of vitality and it's a lot of like inspired, I've got energy for this and like focus on new things and all of that. And again, Jupiter's amplifying that. But depending on what house it's in, it could almost feel like instead of it being like a boost or a help, it almost might feel like a handicap. So, for example, if you have like late degree Gemini, like from 15 to 29 degree Gemini, in any of your fire houses, like the first house, the fifth house, the ninth house, it could be really awesome. That could feel like you're feeling really confident about yourself and what you can do and what you're capable of, and engaging with people and speaking with people and really putting yourself out there. But if it's in a water house, like 12th house, 8th house, 4th house, that's going to be kind of the opposite, actually. 4th house is a little bit meh, but 8th house and 12th house, again, Gemini 15 to 29 degrees, 12th house, 8th house, that's going to feel, oh my God, that can feel like a lot of shadow work. That can feel very emotional. That can lead to a lot of like frustration and even more restless energy than other people. But it can also lead to uncovering things that you just like secrets and things like that, which can be beneficial too. But it can just be way more emotional and internal versus like if you had that in any of your fire houses, right? And then if you have that in your air houses, I mean, it's just air amplifying air. So I think that'd be a positive thing. But if it was in your earth houses, that was interesting too, because when I picked up on that in the video that I was doing, I felt this like combative energy, and I was like, what is that about? So like if you have Gemini 15 to 29 degrees in your third house, not third house, excuse me, second house, sixth house, or 10th house, it can be really good, but it felt a little crazy making. It felt like I was feeling that Uranus energy really strongly, which makes sense because Mercury is going to be square Uranus too during this whole period of time. I'm going to get into it when I do the Astro Talk video, more specifics, but it was feeling like almost being overwhelmed by different options and ideas and inspiration to cultivate your material plane, to deal with your finances, to deal with work, to deal with health, on how to even like calibrate your life to your liking. It almost felt like overload is what it felt like to me. And I was like, oh, like, and that's the thing too, because already with this retrograde phase, regardless of that, that energy is already there, right? And remember, this is all about refinement. And so people who have Gemini 15 to 29 degrees in their second house, 10th house, or sixth house, it could be, yes, very inspiring and very enlightening, but it could potentially be overwhelming. And there's going to be almost like, there's going to need to be like extra time and attention to really refining what the reality and truth is of what it is they want to even do or deal with. Just because we pick up on something or can see an option doesn't mean we need to entertain it. Right. So I was talking to a friend about this more in terms of like psychic information, but even in practicality, it's like just because you can do something doesn't mean it's for your highest good, or doesn't mean it should be anything you should even acknowledge at all, just because it's there. Right. So I think that's going to come up a lot for people who have Gemini 15, 29 degrees in their second house, sixth house. I keep almost saying third house and 10th house. It's on my ascendant. I'm feeling very rebellious. I'm sure you are. I am sure you are. But also calm and controlled. Good. Give the video a like if you're liking it. Yes, please like the video if you're enjoying this. Gemini 8th and 9th house for me. Oh, it's gonna be interesting. And I'm in this period of time too, because I just did my notes, like I know like a lot of very specific information is right up in here. So if you guys do have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Actually, this could be a good time to just go over questions of stuff like that. But if you have Gemini 15 to 29 degrees, like overlapping your 8th and 9th house, it's probably going to go from feeling very like, well, hold on a second. If Gemini is your 8th house, I need to see your whole chart in my mind. Then you're probably a Scorpio rising, is my guess. just a guess. You know, it's words. The houses are not divvied up evenly. So that's why I'm saying it's probably a guess that you're a Scorpio rising. Um, for whoever had said that, for Humble Raw. Um, so if that's the case, Mars and Jupiter will be transiting your 8th and 9th house through the course of these weeks, right? Actually, this will be good notes for me because I did want to do the signs and I was going to do them just like on the fly. But let me take some notes. So let's see. And that means Uranus will be in your 7th. Oh God, sorry. Like, oh, that must not be super great. Which means Aries is more the 6th house, and that's where gifts are coming through. And that's where you have vitality, focus, information coming through. But then there's the Leo Virgo component, right? So then Cancer. Can I do that? Wait, I gotta like do it all. Actually, maybe I shouldn't take notes. My brain is a little blah. And then Leo would be 10th, 11th-ish. I know Virgo would probably be more of the 11th house. Okay. So Mercury going through there. Wow. Wow. Okay. So you're going to have so potentially a lot of really interesting insights as far as your 10th house is concerned and how you can actually, I don't want to say be more yourself because that doesn't feel right. It feels more like being able to actually express yourself in a way where people can really hear you and like actually acknowledge you. And that might be something you struggled with before potentially, but that's coming through with your 10th house, which is awesome. But there's some sort of like hidden gift or skill that's coming by way of your 6th house because of Chiron and Eris. That can be so many things. That could be health, that could be systems, that could be how you just like run your daily routine and daily life. But Aries in the 6th house is kind of like boss energy. Just saying, just putting it out there. But while Gemini and Jupiter are shaking up your 8th and your 9th, I feel like there's going to be some sort of fear that comes in the 9th house, probably towards the later half of August, early September, probably around the new moon in Virgo. Actually, there might be some fear that comes up. But I feel like, yeah, you're just uncovering and unlocking a lot of stuff that's been hidden as far as how to communicate properly so people can actually follow you and hear you. 8th house, 14 degrees Taurus, Cancer, South Node Cancer. Oh, you're a North Node Cappy? Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Can you explain the different houses? Oh gosh, that's like a whole video in and of itself. The houses really just represent the different aspects of our life and in very multifaceted ways. This is why that's like a whole video in and of itself. So traditionally, before even looking at your own houses, like the first house is normally ruled by Aries, and then second Taurus, third Gemini, blah, 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 all the way to 12th Pisces, right? But again, so many multifaceted ways to even approach that or talk about that. The fire houses are 1st house, 5th house, 9th house, right? Because they're ruled by the fire signs, etc. Those are the aspects of life where we rely on our own spirit, where we rely on our own confidence and vitality to move about in the world, right? So 1st house is like identity, 5th house is like how we play and how we create, 9th house is how we explore the world, external world, and even go into more of these like higher minded concepts. Just as an example, there's like, actually that's too much information. I can't go into all of that. That's a long video. Excuse me. We want that video. Yeah, I know there's so many videos that people have asked me for, and believe me, I want to deliver. Believe me, I do. I wish there was more time in a day, and I wish that, I had like more space in my life in order to do all of that too. But alas, life be life. And Gemini 6th house, I feel like I need to constantly remind myself to slow down. Yes, especially, oh my God, so much, because that's also a Virgo house, right? because it's the sixth house. Yeah, definitely. I could see that. Definitely. You'd be an amazing teacher. Everybody tells me that. Um, all of that is being seeded. It's being seeded. It's coming. I was wondering if you could do a video on north nodes. Actually, okay, this is good. Actually, I'm glad I went live. Okay, so we want a north node video. Okay. We want a houses video. I feel like that would have to be broken up into parts. Otherwise, it'd be like 12 hours long. Literally. I feel like I could spend an hour on each house just talking about each house. That's why I was like, I could get started, but that's a lot of info. Okay. What other videos? Tell me. I'm here. I'm writing these down. So this is good. Yes, a North Node video would be so cool. Okay. We love all you do, and we know it's hard to make space. It is. It is. Especially when it's like, there's just so much more to life too, right? Just like my personal life and trying to navigate like things that make me happy personally, things that I like to do as passion projects. Like it is hard to organize and navigate. And if you were to look at my chart, you would see that organization is, well, not gonna say organization, but routine is not my skill set. Saturn return video. Okay. Okay. Saturn return video. Chiron video. Okay. Excuse me. White rabbit. Okay. If I'm going to do White Rabbit, I feel like I need to do Orcus and Sedna. Actually, I've been wanting to do something on Sedna for a bit. Oh my God, that just sparked so many things I just wanted to talk about. All this Gemini energy, man. Can you do a video that goes deeper into the White Rabbit asteroid? Okay, that one's marked. That one's marked. Hearing about your grid work, I always thought that was interesting, but don't know a lot about it. Just one of the many things I've signed up for in this life. Grid work is something that that is my relationship with the earth, okay? And sometimes that involves travel. Actually, most of the time that involves travel, that involves going to certain places and literally working on the grids. And it only comes up when I'm guided to. It's not anything that I decide I'm gonna go here and do this. It's basically I'm guided to it and it just kind of happens. That's a very quick paraphrasing of grid work. Oh, stars. Oh, that also is gonna have to be like a series. Okay. Fixed stars. Oh, synergy. I don't even know how to approach a synastry video. Did you see my face there? It's like, huh. So a little thing about synastry. So, okay, since you guys watch me, you know, and if we got newbies in here, hello. When it comes to synastry charts, even just my belief on astrology, to me, it's about the whole picture. If you look at just like a couple celestial bodies, could that give you a general idea? Yeah, but if you don't like account for the entire picture, you could miss really big stuff. You know, you can miss really, really big stuff. And transits are important. Like if you meet someone and you think, oh my God, this is my person, but what if they're about to go through their Saturn return? They're about to go on a whole roller coaster. Doesn't mean it won't work, but what you can guarantee is they're about to go through massive life changes that could change who they are and just what could even happen with you, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't know if I could do a synastry chart one. I feel like there are just way too many pieces there way too many pieces there. Oh, aspects, okay, because I saw squares. And I've mentioned this before, but I have been wanting to cultivate a course. And so I was going to start doing seminars in October, and I still have plans to do a course. Actually, that was on my list for this weekend to like organize my timeline of things. And so a lot of this stuff may also just be in potential future course that I offer, just letting you guys know. Okay. Hold on. How do you find what your Saturn return is? So when you look in your chart, your Saturn is in a specific position in a sign. And when Saturn basically moves into that sign again, that is your Saturn return. It normally happens between like 27 and a half to like 30 years of age for people. The reason the range is like that is because all orbits are elliptical. They're not perfectly uniform and circular. Like they're all like that. That's why it's like that. Um, but that's what it is. Like when Saturn basically comes home into that sign that you were born under. So for example, my Saturn is in Capricorn. So when Saturn was going through Capricorn back in like, I think it was like 2019 was when it was peaking. That was the peak of my Saturn return. But just like anything, I believe there's a pre-shadow and a post-shadow, but that's just my own beliefs. It's my own beliefs. Not everyone abides by that. Speaking of synastry, remember when you asked who was single? 13 exact aspects, including exact Venus conjunction. Let's see, just curious if you look into your own chart, and if yes, how far ahead? Oh, I always look at my own chart. I am actually doing it more than I used to. It's funny, right? Because it's like one of those things where you study it so much and you offer it for other people and you help other people with it. But then it's like, wait, when was the last time I looked at my own chart? So yes, I have looked very, very closely at my own chart. As far as how far I look ahead, because like, how do I want to say? Everyone's brain is so different. I have a very visual mathematical brain. So if I've seen something, I just have to see it again. And I think that's also why I'm just a seer. I'm just very visual. I can just see it. So big things that I would look for, I already know when they're going to happen and how they're going to affect my chart. So it's like, there are some things I don't need to look ahead for because I know when they're going to happen. Right? Like right now, for example, Pluto, which is retrograding in Aquarius at 0 degrees, I've known for the last, where are we, 2024? I'll say year and a half, that Pluto was going to be blowing up my North Node at 2 degrees Aquarius, right? And it's going to continue to do that for a hot minute. I want to say probably until mid 2025-ish. And also because I do sessions with people, I have looked at so many different transits for the next, where are we, 2024, 6 years, for so many different things and so many times over. There are just some things that are burned in my memory. So I already know that's something that's affecting me for a while, so I don't even need to look at it because I just know. I also know that 2027 is going to be a crazy year, especially with the major conjunction in November when Pluto is going to be exactly conjunct the North Node at Aquarius 7 degrees. That's just burned in my memory just because of how my brain works. I know with Mars is in Gemini, it's going to move into Cancer, but I know Mars is going to retrograde next year in Leo, no less, and that's going to be really interesting too. And so if you have like significant Leo or people who I know who have significant Leo, they're going to be going through a lot of stuff in terms of how they assert themselves and learning if they are actually too dominant or expect too much from people and need to rein it in. Like I know that's just going to be a thing for Leos, so it's just, I don't always look ahead because I just can see a lot. I'm looking at my chart now. I love watching your lives. You explain everything so well. Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. I think I'm going to get better at that, at doing that in a more organized, refined way. Refinement. Refinement. Because like I said, Mercury is retrograding through my third house. And I know that's going to be part of it. I already know. I just know. I know that's going to be a part of it. I've found a lot of value in my progress charts in the past few years. I have too. Progress charts are interesting. I don't always look at my progress chart. They can be helpful if you're looking into more just like, how do I want to say, not superficial experiences. I don't have another word for that. Okay, so for example, in my progress chart, my Mars is opposing my Venus, which when your Mars opposes your Venus, it can be hard to execute things that you really want for yourself as far as like creative stuff or things that make you feel really good. It also can make relationships really difficult, especially if there's like a sexual romantic component. Like it actually can relate to a dry spell, which, not gonna lie, been in a little bit of a dry spell with that, but it also just goes along with my chart. Also, my progress chart, my moon has been in Pisces, and I've definitely been going through my 8th house in my progress chart. I've definitely been feeling that. My gifts have been definitely amplified, and there has been a lot more mediumship and physical mediumship kind of going on, which can relate to that too. So yeah, progress charts I think are very helpful if you just want confirmation of what is actively kind of going on the surface of like your everyday life. But I always rely on the natal charts for some of these bigger life cycles that are going on. Um, my ascendant opposes my Venus. Oh, I actually just had a client with that. I want to say sometime in the last month. Ascendant opposing the Venus. It actually can still create someone who's very charming. It can still attract a lot of people. People who have Venus conjunct their ascendant, they are very, very attractive people. But when it's opposing the ascendant, it's there. It's just not as overt and it's not as direct. Also, there is, I don't, it's not a reliance. I'm not going to say that. But like, if you were to get into bonded relationships, not just romantic, but like business relationships or living with someone, or some kind of long-term obligation, it would bring out some more of your subtle qualities. It's not a dependency, but like, what is that word? It's like, I think I'm just tuning into you personally, because they bring out your Venus. They would bring out your Venus, but they would also mirror a lot of shit back to you about yourself and your own shadow, which, depending on what else is going on in your chart, could have different implications. But it still would make you a very magnetic person. It just wouldn't be super, super direct, you know? You have so much to share with the world. I'm glad you have this platform and share with us. Thank you. I have a friend who's been telling me that, and I know that they are correct. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been very focused on trying to seed and cultivate passion projects. And I just know with like the energy we're in right now, and also just where I'm at in my personal cycles, it is a time for it, but it's rough. It's rough. It's definitely rough. I feel like I am definitely riding the spiral of getting a schedule in place and getting things in order and knowing and getting more refined and fine-tuned even on like, okay, I'm going to do this first, this should be my priority, and then that'll be my second, that'll be my third, etc. And then I go into like my internal emotional world, and then I deal with stuff, I clear stuff, I transmute stuff, and then that gives me clarity also on just other things that I'm doing and working on. So I've been in this like constant spiral, which I'm not going to lie to you guys, has not been easy. It has not been easy. But that's okay. It's just the cycle I'm in. Pluto drilling down on my north node. Also, while Pluto was square my Venus, it's like I can't escape transformation right now, like at all. Like everything is subject to change in my life at a constant under this long ass 3-year Pluto cycle that I'm in. Especially as it's squaring my Venus, that also touches my relationships, but also how I relate to my own ability to create. So it's a lot. I've been doing a lot astrologically. You know, we needed you, Island Turtle. Thank you for sharing your gift and kindness with us. Well, thank you for receiving it. Thank you for receiving it. Want to talk about Neptune for this upcoming year? Thank you for doing you. It's funny you say that because I know Neptune is going to move into Aries at some point soon in the next, I think into the next year. I want to say maybe 2 years. I got to double check that. I actually haven't been paying attention to it, but I know it's happening. I know it's there. But yeah, I haven't been looking into that because Neptune in Aries is funky. So there are some like planet placements with sign placements that are just funky. Hold on a second. Oh, oh, hold on. Oh. Oh, sorry guys. Like I said, my throat has been a mess. And this is what was happening nonstop with the Mercury retrograde video. Oh. So who knows how long I could stay on actually. Like Neptune and Aries to me would actually bring about I don't want to say delusional thinking, but I guess that is what I want to say. Is like delusional thinking of capability. Like overestimating or underestimating your own capability is what I would say about Neptune and Aries before even accounting for aspects, you know, because once Neptune is in Aries, it's going to be subject to annual aspects from like Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And then depending on where Jupiter and Saturn are for the entire time, Neptune is in Aries, that'll also create its own things, you know. But Uranus will move into Gemini too in the next couple of years. That I think is almost more fascinating than the Neptune Aries component. Like, yes, Neptune Aries, there is this like funkiness of what are we capable of? What can we even do? What's even possible? And some doubts and fears, even insecurities along with that. But Uranus and Gemini, it just gets me excited. It makes me like want to giggle. I'm gonna be so happy when Uranus is out of Taurus because like all of this shaking up as far as like the economy and money and finances go, and what we value has been hard. I think it's been hard on everybody because it really brings into question our own sense of stability and questions our future, right? But when Uranus moves into Gemini, I mean, that is like, we've been speaking on for years in the spiritual community about ascension and consciousness evolution. What's going to be more evolutionary than Uranus in Gemini? Like, Gemini is all about fractals of truth, like infinite fractals of truth. And then you're, thought I just heard something. I swore I just heard something. And then Uranus is going to go in there and be like, oh, let's make this more active. Let's do more. Let's blow this up. Let's blow up this Gemini energy on a collective level. Not to mention, it's also going to change technology and how we communicate, how we share information, how we even learn information. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes in terms of all of that on a global scale while Pluto's in Aquarius. And so at some point, Uranus is also going to be trine Pluto in the air component. Right now, we're experiencing Uranus and Pluto trine in the earthly material plane because Pluto's about to retrograde into Capricorn starting September 1st. But then when they're both in air, like I just think that's going to be cool. It's going to be very cool to see unfold. Hold on, the chat is freezing up again. Okay, there we go. Libra rising, Gemini moon, North, I assume you mean North Node. Been feeling funny for 2 days. There's been an interesting vibe the last 2 days. And even though I speak on a lot about like astrology, as you guys know, I'm also just in tune with just like collective waves. And I feel like there are two very distinctly different collectives right now, and arguably a third. I think the third is like falling in line with one of the other ones. So I know there are a couple different, very strongly polarizing different realities right now, but I know for the last couple of days, there have definitely been some parts of the collective where things are just off, where there's like distractions or fatigue or a lot of old stuff coming to the surface. When Chiron went retrograde, I don't know about you guys, but that took me for a ride. That took me for a ride. And for some people, it wasn't so exacerbated, but that took me for a ride. And I feel like some people who did get taken for a ride from that are also still feeling that a little bit too. Not to mention, today we have Venus square Uranus, which I think has also been adding some like agitated, frustrated energy to the mix, and even maybe a little confusion too. My mom is Gemini sun. She said the same. Oh, thank you. None of your business. Thank you. Cute. Let's see. YouTube House of Reawakening Minds. I don't like topic collective class action stuff. Sorry, I don't understand. Been super tired the last few days. Been clearing some things. Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you, Tyler. I feel you. Forever tired of all these aspects. So here's the thing, guys. I know I speak a lot. I know I share a lot. And I know sometimes all that information can be overwhelming. And that is something I want to work on too. I do want to work on like, how do I want to say? Segregating how I share information and to what extent with what people. So, for example, when I start my seminars and courses and that stuff, that is going to be heavily detailed. But I think for the purpose of like YouTube I think it needs to be, I think I need to actually give less information because I think I do overwhelm people and I don't want to overwhelm people. And for the people who want all the information, they can go and access it elsewhere. Because I think sometimes when I'm giving you guys all the information, I want you guys to know what's going on, right? That's like the first thing. I want you guys to know. I want you guys to be able to use this information to your benefit. Um, but for people where it's too much, I think they actually get discouraged from even listening at a certain point, you know? Just love watching you. Oh, I've been going through a lot. Oh no, you lost your jobs. I'm looking for a job long time. Nothing has been working for me yet. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. I know, like, as far as like the economy goes, I know we're all feeling it for in different ways. Like for some people it's through that way. Through some people it's not having enough money to like pay bills. For some people it's like a housing issue, you know? It's like I think we're all feeling it. And I think also a lot of people are getting very sick of it and very over it. Like I also would love to see a reality where enough people say F you to the system, that enough people have go off the system and can just support each other. And then over time, maybe we can even all just eventually diverge into that new system on a global level. That's my hope. That's my hope anyway for the future, so that it doesn't have to also be this like media induced calamity. Like, I don't want to get into all that shit. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I love the way you explain things. Thank you. You always convey the details extremely well, though. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so ready for the new system. Yes, calling that in. Yeah, because honestly, it's like I know there's enough people at least doing the off grid thing, right? And also over time, like there's just there are things that are slipping away as far as accessibility to the point where a lot of us are being forced to really just handle a lot of things on our own anyway. And at one point, are we just going to say, we don't participate anymore? Like, right? At what point are we going to say, just F it? F it. Like, really, especially if you have enough people in it with you. Because that's the biggest thing, too. It's like the way that we live, and I can really only speak to the States. I haven't traveled a lot internationally. But at least here in the States, there's so much segregation and so much of the culture is to be separate. And when we're not separate anymore, then what? You know? And even if you talk about a global system, I know there's been a lot of fear around the notion of like a global institution for the purpose of just societal living. But think about it. Like, if the entire world didn't have borders anymore, war would not be an incentive, right? Keeping people separate wouldn't be an incentive. We could share all resources across the world, right? Like, it just makes sense. Like, it just makes sense to me. It just makes sense. And obviously, people can argue, like, oh, but if the wrong people get into power, but that's the thing, too. It's like, if it's a global system, there wouldn't be like just one person in power. Like, there, at least that's not how I see it. That's not how I see it as being possible. Um, I don't know. It just makes sense. It just makes sense to me. It just makes sense to me. The wheels of capitalist machine are greased by hyper individualism. Yeah, I have learned so much from you already. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. That eventually a world government would happen. I feel like it would have to. Honestly, I feel like it would have to. Like, even just think about the amount of like time and energy and resources that are wasted, even on maintaining this kind of individual system, even on a global scale, right? It's like all the countries we have on this planet, right? We all have our own system of how we run things. And even then, most systems are malfunctioning, right? Are not set up properly anyway. And it's just like so much time, energy, and money is just wasted because of that. Just because of that. And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I'm having my first ayahuasca session next weekend, hoping it releases a lot for me. Well, I wish you luck, and I hope that you are, you know, with a group that is um, ethical. I've got a lot of words about that. That's just what I have a lot of words about that. But I do hope it goes well for you. I hope it goes well for you. Um, like I don't know about you guys, but I am so ready to just like live on a piece of land with my people and we're just helping each other. Like I'm just so ready for that. I'm so ready for that. Like there is no way, and again, I can only speak to the States, but there is no way like here in the States like one person can manage all of the bullshit that we are expected to manage and actually like live a healthy balanced life and then also have room for just freedom. Like there's not enough space for it with how the system is set up, you know? Um, it's going to happen. Cannot find a horse and buggy anywhere these days. Lots of old friends and acquaintances coming out of the woodwork lately. That's very Mercury retrograde too. I've been getting that too. I've had so many people randomly hit me up and I'm like, huh, okay. Haven't heard from that person in a bit. See, same. I'm ready to live away from people, only pets. We do love our fur babies. We do love our fur babies. I feel more blessed in my life than I ever have. Oh, I love hearing that. It's so many components in the States. Yes. Yes, it is. Like if okay, for those who've never been to the States, every state in the United States is like its own country to an extent. And even if you travel across states, like it's impossible to know what you're walking into. And also every state has its own culture, which can be drastically different from another state, from like west to east, north to south, even within like the southwestern United States, like every state is very different. Like if you were to drive from like California to Arizona and just like observe the people, you would think you were in a totally different country, depending on where in California you came from. It's astonishing to me, actually. Some people might say it's cool. I don't know. To be honest, I don't like it. To be honest with you, I'm all for variety of culture. I'm all for variety of beliefs, but I don't like the feeling of going into a state and not feeling safe because of it either. Like I'm not down with that. Um, let's see. Start a commune. That's the thing too. It's like we have so much like distortion too around the thoughts of living that way. And I think that's also another thing. I think it's just become demonized in certain circles, I'll say, to live that way. Like, the word cult is used a lot when it's like I don't see how it's bad to like live with your loved ones like on a piece of land somewhere and like growing your food and just living life best you can. Like I don't like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to get weird or crazy. But of course, like the people who are like more along the lines of cult leaders would take advantage of that, right? For people who are seeking that, unfortunately. Like I'm not saying live with strangers. I don't want to live with strangers. I want to live with my people. you know? Here in Louisiana, we definitely are our own country. Yeah. Me too. I hate feeling like I don't belong in certain places. Yeah. Yeah. I've lived everywhere, and each place I've lived has its own flavor. Yes, it does. It does. It's one of the reasons I miss Hawaii so much. Like, oh my God. Like, just talk about a place where people just have it figured out on like what's important, right? I feel amongst all the states I've ever been to in this country, I feel the safest in Hawaii. That is where I absolutely feel the safest. And after I lived there and then I had to leave, it was it was so weird. It was all it, I was very jarring because I grew up in the States. I grew up on the West Coast, but then I lived in Hawaii for a bit. And then when I came back, it was like I became very aware of how unsafe I felt. And it was like, oh, did I grow up feeling this way? And then I got a taste of what it's like to not feel that way. And then it was really eye opening for me. Anyway, random. Kind of random, but if you had to guess someone's sign, what sign will be easiest to guess? Sun, rising, or moon? Ooh, like someone you have seen and talk to them for 20 minutes. Which are your faves? Most of the time, I won't lie, I can't help myself. I can't help myself. If I'm talking to someone and I feel it, I gotta ask. And I would say 80% of the time I'm right. about their sun side. And then the times I'm wrong, normally they don't know their moon or their rising, but I would guess it was probably related to their moon or rising. Um, I don't even know how to explain it because I feel like I really am intuiting it more than anything when I meet somebody. Um, I would say the ones that stand out a lot, Aquariuses stand out a lot. Aquariuses are very obvious for the most part. Um, Geminis are obvious. Mm, Gemini, Sag are obvious because they're kind of overt signs anyway. They're kind of like, anyway. I would say those are the most obvious for me. I know I've guessed other ones, but those are the most obvious. Uh, I see risings more than I see sun signs. Got married in Maui. Oh, beautiful. Ugh. A sense of community and what values you share is key. Having random people invade your community with no shared values is what is threatening. Yeah. Yeah. I got no interest in building a community of strangers. No. No, thank you. No, I'm good. Hello. Hey, Atlas. What makes aqua obvious? What doesn't make aqua obvious? I love aquas. I do. Um, if they're a man or a woman, it can manifest very differently. I would say I guess it more in women than I do men. And again, this is not like a universal truth. Like I said, when I'm in those moments, I am intuiting more than anything. I can just feel it. But I would say when I've guessed with Aquarius women, they actually, you know what? Because I just pictured like Aquarian women that I've met through the course of my life. And I'm realizing there is a physical component that I did not even put together. Let me sit with that. Let me sit with that for a minute. Huh. Okay, so the physical trait that like I'm putting together, I'm wondering if that's also supported by water placements, because the particular women that stand out also have water in their chart, so it might also be backed by the water component. But the Aquarian women I've met, um, there's something about their upper body and especially like the shape of their head that is very prominent. It just like stands out. I'm not saying they look distorted. I'm not saying they got big heads either. It's just something is very noticeable about the shape of their head. Like, and the way they wear their hair, I've noticed tends to be a little bit more like they wouldn't wear this kind of hairstyle. Like they wouldn't fluff it up like a Leo would. It would be kind of the opposite. Like wearing their hair a little bit more like flat on the top, even if they have like long hair that hangs down. I know Aquarians are also technically known for like dyeing their hair. I would actually say most Aquarians I've met don't do that or have just didn't have that at the time. But again, this is not a universal truth. It's just my observation. But yeah, something about the shape of their heads and like the way they wear their hair um, just stands out amongst the women that I'm seeing in my mind's eye. But also, they tend to have strong personalities, a strong personality, a strong presence, but they do attempt to individuate themselves very clearly in some way. It's usually in the way they speak. In the way they speak, sometimes the way they dress, but definitely more in like their tone and how it's like it is almost borderline assertive. It also feels like the way they speak is very absolute. But at the same time, they try to have like this unique individuation about themselves. That's what I notice mostly with Aquarians. And sometimes they can have a little bit of I don't want to say flippant attitude. That feels like a very strong word. Um, but a little bit, not in a bad way. It just is what it is. It's like they really want to stand on their individualness. And so if they feel like you're not seeing it, they will emphasize their individualness and they will speak it and be very vocal about how individual they are in some way, shape, or form. Or even like speak down to things that are a little bit more conformist or mainstream. I have definitely noticed that quite a bit. Yes, they do have an attitude. I fell in love with an aqua and got my heart broken. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, I actually have dated a couple Aquarian men, like Aquarius sun men, and they are definitely different than the women. They are definitely different. The Aquarian men I've dated, they are very intelligent, but they're almost like, they're not softer. That's not the right word. Whimsical. They're a little bit more whimsical. Yes, charming. They're very charming. Aquarian men are very, very, very charming and very whimsical. And they tend to be very intelligent, whether they want to give that away or not. I actually feel like the Aquarian men are a little bit more covert than the Aquarian women. Um, but I've, but yeah, it's like that's the other thing too. It's like with Aquariuses, they are fixed air. And so when it comes to like romance in particular, when they choose you, they're all in. When they decide you are my person forever, they are all in. But it takes them forever to get there. It takes them a very, very, very long time to get there. Um, I have noticed that. Aquamoon, I'm super covert. Both my daughters are Aquarius suns. Oh, wow. You're being very accommodating and kind towards Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius woman and I know we can get annoying. Oh, I'm just speaking of my experience. I'm just speaking my experience. Every sign has its pro and con. Every sign and every mix of signs, you know. I know my pros and cons as a personality and even just like how my chart plays into that. You know, no one's perfect. Everybody's got their drawbacks or their difficulties, if you will. Um, I have enjoyed dating Scorpio men, but I'm also Scorpio, so and I know that's not everyone's experience. I feel like people have very strong opinions about the fixed signs, like very strong opinions about the fixed signs, which I guess would make sense given what the fixed signs are all about, you know. Um, I've never dated a Taurus man. I've always wanted to date a Taurus man. That's never happened. Uh, Trying to think what else. Oh yes, Scorpio men. Yeah, I mean again, chart dependent. Very like full picture is like very dependent on that. Um, but I have enjoyed that, but I think there's just that innate understanding from a Scorpio. A Taurus is good too. Very random, but do you think there will be any big moments for science biology in the next few years? Oh, absolutely. Synthetic biologist, genome engineer here, so I'm curious what your thoughts are. Yeah, I definitely think there is. And honestly, I kind of feel like there should be some going on already, just given that Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus does rule. Well, every sign rules a part of the body, but Taurus, I find because they're Earth Venus, that the body is very important. And so with Uranus being in Taurus, I feel like that would innately just shake things up. Anytime we're in Virgo season, that would also bring about things like that. But I feel like, especially with all this innovative energy we've been under, including Gemini, Gemini is kind of like the scientist experiment, mad scientist, if you will. I feel like there really should be, let's see, strong opinions about fixed signs, in fact. Yes. I personally like fixed signs. Got my heart broken by a Scorpio men twice. Oh, skip the Taurus girl, save yourself the grief. Again, sign dependent. Sign dependent. My friend Zachary from Divine Phoenix Rising, check out his channel. He's cool. He turned me on to, oh my God, destiny cards, words. And that has been so fascinating. So fascinating. Just even from like an astrologer's point of view and a numerologist's point of view too. For anybody who doesn't know what that system is, go ahead and like Google it if you want. But I do find it fascinating because because the day you're born is you have a destiny card for the day you're born, but then you have one for your ruling planet. So if you're like a Scorpio or Libra, right, it's like those would be different. And then you have like a whole association with the different planets for you personally based off the day you were born. No, he's a Gemini. He is a Gemini. But I've been finding that really, really fascinating. And I feel like I'm just seeing a lot of the interconnectedness of all these different systems by way of the destiny cards. I feel like the destiny cards have been like this final, excuse me, piece to just see things on a whole other level in that way. Let's see. Hi, Bubby. Clydester's here. Hi, mister. You want to say hi? He's feeling so much better, you guys. It makes me so happy. Do you want to, or you just want some pets? You just want some pets? I think you just want some pets. Or do you want dinner? It probably is close to his dinner time. Thoughts on Cancer ascendant, Moon conjunct ascendant. Very interesting healing people with that placement. So you're a Cancer rising and a Cancer moon, and that is all in your first house. Makes me curious what your sun is too. I don't really have much to say about that other than definitely high levels of intuition and empathy as far as like how you identify with yourself, but definitely if you're moon led or moon ruled. Hold on a second. Buddy, hold on, he's knocking over the camera. Oh, you want to say hello? He's like, not really. So if your moon is conjunct your ascendant, yes, highly intuitive individual, high capacity for empathy, and definitely high capacity for holding space for people in whatever way you decide. Hold on a second. In whatever way you decide to hold space for another person. But I would be curious about your entire chart, right? Because the other thing too about the first house that's interesting, again, also chart dependent on what aspects are there too, is sometimes, again, depending on your chart, what you identify with in your first house could be a benefit or a handicap, depending on what else is going on in your chart, right? His ears looked curled for a second. Oh no, they are. They are. His ears are, what's that term? Cauliflowered. He has cauliflowered ears. So actually his ears like bothering him. It's time to clean his ears. He's so fluffy. He is. And he's very soft right now because of the food he's been eating too. Aren't you, Bubby? He's just occupied with his ear. I'm Cancer sun and Cancer moon. It's too much. Ooh, a new moon Cancer baby. Okay. I know sometimes it could be a lot, but you know, also people who are moon ruled. And when I say that, that could be Cancer, but also that could be moon in your first house. That is also what I consider to be moon ruled. Regardless of whatever sign that would be for you, if your moon is in your first house, you also may feel like a Cancer sometimes because you would probably also be very subjected to the cycles of the moon. I've met a few people with their moon in their first house and they have that same feeling. Like they feel like they shift really quickly even throughout the month. And I do think that's because the moon just has a huge impact on their chart. Hi, Bubby. He just wants my attention so bad. Well, I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm going to get off soon. Okay? Is that okay? Are you cool with that? Maybe. Maybe. He's like, hurry it up. Yes, that is me. I roll with the moon. Yeah, being a Cancer rising, just speaking for myself, it's I definitely feel it. Even though my moon is Capricorn and is in my 7th house, I definitely am subjected to the cycles of the moon, which is also why I track that too in like my calendars. I actually track like what sign the moon is in, so I just know for myself, like, just to be aware. What about Gemini sun, Aqua moon, Cap rising, and Cancer Venus? That is very close to actually someone that I used to know. A little different. They were Gemini sun, Aqua moon, and they were a Taurus rising. Very unique individual. I actually really admired him quite a bit. Actually, just generally speaking, I have a lot of love for him, even though I think he's very misunderstood in a lot of ways. But anyway, yeah, Gemini sun with Aqua moon before even accounting for the rising factor. How do I want to say this? You may feel very sure of yourself a lot. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Just is. But if you're a Cap rising, then your moon is in your 12th house. Hold on. Actually, I think I gotta write that down, especially because the chat keeps disappearing. Where'd you go? Yes. So moon, Aqua, 12th. Gemini sun. Venus, Cancer, so that would be your 7th. And then your sun is in your 6th. Oh, Gemini in the 6th house. Hold on a second. Actually, with your moon being in your 12th, maybe you wouldn't be so sure of yourself, especially with your Gemini in the 6th house too. Because sometimes when you put air in a watery house like that, wait, did I get, no, second house, sorry, my bad. 2nd house, not 12th house. Okay. No, you. Did you see that? I was like, okay. Oh, okay. So having your moon in your second house, regardless of what sign it is, like the way you feel emotionally stable is by way of material security. And having that be an Aquarius, it would feel like material security would be very, very important to you and be a very high priority for you. But I feel like you would want it, how do I want to say? You would definitely try to seek like unconventional avenues for it, but then a part of you would also wonder like, well, how could I use my own wealth and like ability to attain wealth to help other people or to contribute in some way, shape, or form? That's what I'm feeling in there. That could even translate to like philanthropy. Excuse me. I was like, what's that word? Philanthropy. Also probably a very unique look aesthetically with Aqua being in the second house. Like that I would say is somebody who would probably enjoy playing with their look a lot. Um, mm, the Venus and Cancer in the seventh house. I feel like something in your chart doesn't communicate. I don't even know the rest of your placements. That's just a feeling I got. Like I just got a feeling of a couple squares with your moon, but I don't know your chart like that. I don't know your chart like that. Because normally Venus and Cancer in the seventh house, that is somebody who really enjoys being in a deeply bonded relationship. But the moon, oh, I just got dizzy. But the moon in Aquarius would not like that. The moon in Aquarius, I think, would feel like the moon Aquarius part of you, I think, would be very threatened by that. Like almost like, yes, you like that, like under the surface, but on the surface, you want to be in control, is kind of what I would pick up with that. You want to be in control. You want to be the one to dictate is almost what I'm getting. But the Venus in Cancer in seventh house, you do have a capacity to really care a lot about other people and want to help people, but it would have to be on your terms is what I would gather with that. But that's just what I would gather without knowing your whole chart. I just kind of gave up. He's like, you're not feeding me. You're still alive. What is this about? I kind of want to pull cards, actually. Just to do a little, like, a little collective read real quick. Can I? Should I? They did say yes. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do a collective read. Let's do a collective read together. Yes. I love how accurate you are. I'm still learning astrology, and you most definitely have been such a great help. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Do it. Yeah, let's do it. It won't be long. I say that, but we'll see. Do you want to feed Clyde first? No, he's okay. He's a food monger. Okay, he's eaten a lot today. He'll be okay. He'll be okay. Clyde. Do you want to come up and rest? Stop it. Oh, now he's getting mischievous. No. We're not playing with that. We're not doing that. Clyde. Buddy. Now he's knocking things over. He can wait. He can wait. Oh, no! Hold on, let me move this. He almost knocked over my candle on the floor. A bunch of melted wax in it. Okay. I am starting with the Herbal Astrology Oracle. Any messages or insights for the collective at this time? Oh, I just got a nauseous feeling. Oh, I know. Oh, really, really nauseous feeling. Definitely some solar plexus stuff coming up here for the collective. They're showing me a card from the Animal Spirit Oracle. I believe that's what it's, Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle. They're showing me the cheetah, actually, which is very yang heavy. It is also fire energy. Okay. Some of you may be a second. Oh shit, hold on. Buddy. Definitely there's a restless frustration there, but I'm actually feeling unresolved anger and rage. Is actually what I'm feeling there too. Oh, some of you guys have been feeling blocked. Okay, there's a lot of information coming through here for the collective. Some of you may have been feeling blocked from taking certain action on things, or from things progressing in the way you've expected. Maybe they've been progressing, but maybe it's been really, really slow. There's a reason for that. Okay, but those who have this unresolved anger and rage, so something that I got as a collective channeling when I was doing the retrograde video is something that also came up a little while ago too in one of the weeklies about Sekhmet and Ma'at. I forgot which video that was, but it did come up, and it came up again, and now I'm feeling it again. So it's coming up for a reason. How to move from Sekhmet to Ma'at. How to take your own anger and rage and really put it into a state of harmony, but really how to move it. You got to move it to sacred rage first before you can really restore balance. That's what Ma'at is all about, restoring balance. So I feel like this reading that I'm about to do for you guys, that the collective part of the collective I'm tuning into, there has been something moving slow. You have been feeling kind of blocked and delayed and slowed down, but it's for a reason, because something needs to get worked out. And it's in relation to your own anger, rage, or frustration about something that has been left unresolved or undealt with. Some of you may not have even known that you have anger about something or even towards someone. Some of you, this feels like misuse of your own fire, of your own vitality, of your own life force. Like, because it's like there's a misuse of it, or there's like not appropriate outlets for it. I heard relationship, or a proper relationship with your own fire, it's becoming anger. It's turning into frustration. It's turning into rage. And you may or may not even be aware of it. I'd be shocked if you weren't completely aware of it, like maybe a little ignorant to it, maybe potentially. And you could be projecting this out onto someone or the external, or even like blaming, wanting to blame, point the finger, essentially wanting to point the finger at something or someone. But that's what I am getting. That's what I'm getting here. Any other messages or insights for the collective? Let's see. Oh, San Diego, one of my other favorite cities. I guess I do have favorite cities in this country. I love San Diego. Oh my God, if I could, the Clydester. If I could live in San Diego, man, it'd be nice. Any other messages or insights for the collective? We don't have any cards yet. Skull cap with stillness. 47 breaking down to an 11. Pluto and Saturn. Those are some intense energies. Yeah, there's a reason. So again, if you've been experiencing delays or challenges and you've had this like frustration, this restlessness, some anger, some rage, I do feel like it's mostly spawning from a misuse or a imbalanced relationship with your own fire, with your own physical vitality. Some of you, it is repressed anger and rage about something else or something deeply seated, however you want to look at that. You're being asked to actually take some time and to almost like stop trying to force something or stop trying to find progress in a certain aspect of your life, because this is something unresolved. And the only way you're going to deal with it is if you actually take time to deal with it. Clyde, come here. You want to come here? He's like, no, I'm trying to get your attention. Even with Pluto and Saturn being there, Saturn, especially right now being in Pisces, hi, buddy, wants us to take time to deal with our soul matters and our emotional matters. And Pluto is here to help transmute that. So that's why this is coming out. It even has a little squirt. Hey. Stop. Even has a little scorpion there in the visual. Hold on a second, I'm gonna get the chat back up here. He almost knocked the candle. Yeah, I know. I know. Hold on. Okay. Any other messages? Nope. Nope. I see you. I see you. Any other messages or insights? Shisandra, is that right? Shishandra. I have a hard time pronouncing that one. With Grace, 29, breaking down to an 11, Jupiter and Venus. Very different energies. Bubby. Hey, relax. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. Very different energies. Saturn and Pluto are... Stop it. So, actually, hold on a second. Hey, bud. Hey, look. Just made a toy out of a tissue. Skull cap with Saturn and Pluto, that is very like pressure oriented, destructive, malefic. Jupiter and Venus is the exact opposite. It's stop. It's benefic, it's expansive. He's trying to knock over my water. It brings in the good feels, okay? So Chandra is very similar to the Temperance card, but I also always feel the Star card here, right? How to, right, deal with these unresolved things and what we have an imbalance with and these potential blocks or challenges and bring them into harmony, how to restore harmony for ourselves. Again, take the necessary time that you need to deal with them, okay? Let's move on to the Priestess of Light Oracle. I can't. I know. He can't help himself right now. Can you please give me just 1 minute, please? Any messages or insights for the collective? You taking that? No. Okay. I feel bad keeping you from him. He's fine, guys. He's okay. He hangs out with me 24/7. He is okay. I promise you. Whoa. Oh, very nice. Oh, Rockin' Robin, thank you for the $5. We have precognition coming out here with psychic ability and future vision. 13 breaking down to a 4, 13 being the number of the death card, and then divine feminine, magnetic receptive power, number of 7. That goes really well with these two, actually. So we have skull cap with precognition. When we take time to address our emotional matters and our soul matters and really find where we are imbalanced, what we haven't let go of, what we need to transmute, a lot of information comes in psychically, if you will. But this to me feels more about what's coming as an aftermath to that, to taking that time and acknowledging what's imbalanced. Feels like there's actually an influx of clarity after dealing with that. That's really what I'm getting here. Also a future vision. I feel like this card might come up during the Mercury retrograde video. It didn't when I did it. It did not when I did it. Again, I deleted that version because I got to redo it. But I feel like this also alludes to that because there's a lot coming up too with this Mercury retrograde that again is starting in 2 days. That is about refining all of these things for the purpose of cultivating for the future, right? And then with Shishandra, we have the divine feminine. Let me sit with this for a minute here, because while the divine feminine, there is a receptivity there, there is also an ability of compassion that comes with divine femininity. And thank you, they said it's about the adaptability factor of the feminine. The allowance that comes with divine feminine energy also is going to aid this. Remember what I was saying too about Mercury retrograde, and even just what I was already channeling, like there's this like, I want more progress, I want to move, I want to do this, I want to like assert, and all this solar plexus energy I was getting. We actually need to be more like this. We need to actually embrace the challenges, embrace them for what they are and what they're trying to gift us. So for those who are wanting more progress and feeling all the anger and all of that stuff, there is a vibe of surrender, yes. But so for the purpose of restoring balance, restoring to harmony, to ma'at, if you will. Yes. I'm like, well, I don't think there's anything else I need to say about that. But that's what divine feminine energy is. It allows, it surrenders, it flows, it permits. And remember, we're also really on the brink of this Mercury retrograde energy. And when adaptability is called for, when disruptions happen, when the unexpected happens, this is not a time to fight back. This is not a time to force. It is a time of embrace things that happen and adapt and navigate. Okay? And trusting that it is just going to work out, and trusting in yourself and your ability to not only adapt, but also in your ability to maintain the things that you have been investing in. I'm not saying fully don't work or don't fully like exert energy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't go full throttle. Balance it. Recognize when you need to stop. Recognize where you need to just accept that something isn't working out for the time being, or accept where all I can do is maintain right now. I can't progress, but I can maintain. Like, that's okay too, right? That's what's coming through. I am going to pull from the animal deck, and then I'm going to go because I'm actually starting to sweat because it's so hot in here. I always turn the AC off for my readings because it's just so loud. So it's been off for a hot minute because I also recorded for an hour before this. But yeah, let's look at the animal cards for a bit. Any messages or insights for the collective regarding the spread? Ooh, am I taking these? No, okay. Foxy, Gemini energy for me personally as a reader, even though this is the earth element. Fox is very intelligent, is very observant, very discerning, and very quick, very, very fast. Why is Fox here? Thank you. They're just confirming. You may feel the quickness of the fox within you, the mental quickness, the feeling of, do I turn on my heel now? Do I turn on my heel here? Do I make a move here? Do I make a move there? You may feel all of that, but remember, the fox doesn't act until the perfect moment. They will hold their position, they will watch, and they will observe, feeling all of that intensity as far as like mental activity goes, and even just like their capacity to be very fast and move very fast. They can feel all of that, but they will not execute anything until the perfect moment. Be the fox in that way, okay? Some of you may be dealing with a fox energy, actually. Feels like a watcher. Fox is observant, so that makes sense. Yes, there may be a person for some of you, or even like a group of people that's like waiting to see what you do. It's like, it feels a little bit like, I won't act until they act. I'm not going to do it till they do it. It's a little bit like that. You know how that applies in your own life. Oh, okay, we're going down a rabbit hole here. Some of you, that's part of your unresolved stuff. Going back to skull cap. Some of you have some unresolved, I'm going to say emotion. It could be sadness, curiosity, worry. It could be anger. Some of you have some unresolved emotion regarding a fox energy. They said just say energy, regarding a person or a group of people. And there is this like waiting to see what the other one does. I feel like there's a lot of assumptions going on there. So again, whoever this is for, whoever needs to hear this, yeah, there's a lot of assumptions and projections being made. It's not about the other person. I want to make that very clear. It's not about the other person. Remember, this is a time to take stock of self, right? And the more you focus on another person or watch another person, the less you're focused on you and the less you are actually in tune with yourself. I just keep getting projections. And if someone is doing this to you, you may feel that. Just stay focused on yourself at this time to deal with your own unresolved stuff, okay? Any other messages or insights for the collective for this reading? I want to get two. Can I get 2 cards, please? Woohoo! Okay. We got the owl. Hold on a second, guys. The owl. Air element. Very high priestess-like, very intuitive, very psychic. Also speaks of good things to come. Remember, being discerning and looking at things from a higher mind right now is important, but making sure that you are taking care of your own imbalances first and foremost is the key here. Hold on a second. Let me just adjust the chat because I knew it got all glitchy there for a second. Yes, there is a lot of clarity coming through here, but only after you address your own stuff, okay? And if any of you have been projecting onto other people, you're about to see it if you decide to address your stuff, okay? If someone else is projecting onto you and you deal with your stuff, they may or may not see it. Oh, that's up to them, okay? That's up to them. But remember, any delays, any challenges, just embrace it. Don't fight it. Don't try to overcome it. They're happening for a reason, and the reason is so you can take time for you. You can take time to deal with your shit, okay? Refine, refine, refine. This is kind of like a little mini preview, I think, of Mercury retrograde. All right, can I get one more, please? We're all going to learn to be masters of adaptability by the end of summer. Oh, Cobra. As I say that, my card of the teacher student comes out with fire. When this card comes out, I always feel Saturn. Like the pressure and eyes of Saturn, like the pressure of, are you going to rise to the occasion? Are you going to deal with this? Are you not going to deal with this? That's always what I feel with the Cobra. But let me see if there's something else here, because I do feel another energy behind this Cobra. I keep getting pulled back to like the waiting to see what other people are going to do, or someone waiting to see what you're going to do. Some of you are dealing with a lot of people in that way. That could be a work situation or a family situation. Don't allow anyone to pressure you. I feel like it's a lot of unspokenness going on either way, but don't allow the pressure of other people to influence what you're doing with yourself and your own life and your own emotions. It's not worth it. But I feel like the Cobra is tied to the divine feminine energy. It feels like taking a stand. I want to get one more card for the Cobra. Can I get a card on the Cobra, please? Like, I'm getting a 7 of Wands energy here. That could be you resisting other people for the sake of maintaining your own balance and self. Yeah, I do. I get this feeling of like not letting someone push you around, or not letting certain people push you around. Oh, yeah. Ooh, Tarantula. Oh, this feels like a challenge. Tarantula is my 2 of Wands card. It can be a crossroads energy. It's a card of tension. There's a lot of tension here with Tarantula and Cobra, and it does feel a little daring. It does feel like I need to maintain my stance. Remember, this is like a tricky thing here, because this is not a time to force or dominate other people. It's a time to recognize limitations that are happening in your physical reality, and also allowing those limitations and disruptions and unexpected things and blockages for you to take time for you, so you can really see the bigger picture of your own imbalances, your own emotions, that sort of deal, right? And that will also translate to the physical reality at some point, because once you get right within here, then you can start putting energy out into the world and dealing with your life, right? Oh, Pigeon Post, thank you for the $2. Thank you, thank you. But something about this feels like you're almost protecting yourself. I gotta be honest. It just feels like there's pressure to make a choice, or there's pressure to fall in line. And if that is coming from someone outside of you, definitely maintain self. You don't need to fall in line for anybody but yourself, really, you know? And if it's a boss at work, I know that's tricky. But that is what I'm gathering. And some of you also are really fighting yourself on making certain decisions practically about your life. Some of you that could be like money matters in work. Some of you that could be just healthy behaviors, etc. I feel like there's a tearing of self happening here too for another group of you where you're not dealing with external pressure from people, but whether it's more of an internal fight or conflict. I gotta be honest, I feel like you're fighting your own feminine. Because there's so much emphasis in this whole reading of stop forcing, stop coming from masculine energy and rein it in sometimes. It's almost like your inner feminine wants something while your inner masculine wants something else. Like they're kind of pulling on each other. Ooh, we're going deeper. Hold on a second. There's a group of you where this is a program. This is learned. You learn to fight your feminine. And some of you that might be so prominent that you actually run into conflict with other feminines or actual females, or when people are in their feminine energy, you may feel like you can't be in yours. Like there's something going on there. It's like a fight with your feminine, a fight with your feminine. Okay, I know how this is going to sound, but for some of you, it's almost like your own feminine is challenging you even to acknowledge her, regardless of your gender. Of like, do you really like, oh, okay, this is so interesting. That's kind of what I'm getting to, of like, do you not see how powerful I actually am? Some of you have underestimated your own feminine energy or your own magic as like in that feminine aspect of self, probably because you just haven't had good examples of it, or just you learn to. But that's kind of what I'm getting here. I feel like the feminine is actually like the cobra energy of like, I dare you. So externally, if someone's pressuring you and putting you in that tense energy of the tarantula, you're like this going, no, like there's a boundary here. But if this is a fight between you and yourself, it's like your own feminine is challenging you to acknowledge her and to listen to her and to, well, really just surrender to her is honestly what I'm getting there too. Some of y'all got deep, deep stuff there. Deep stuff. I feel like that goes beyond societal programming. I know society has programmed us to ignore our own feminine energy, but I do feel like there is some deeper trauma there, okay? For those where that applies. Okay. But I want to reiterate, if you're experiencing this externally, like someone's pressuring you or trying to dominate you, no. No. Not doing that. No, because remember, this is the month where we are learning what cooperation really means, what cooperation really requires. And it requires everyone to literally cooperate. Like there is no bossing people around. There is no dominating people. There is no being aggressive. That's not getting anything done. That is the way of the past. Okay. Very fascinating. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to bounce. I'm hot and sweaty. And Clyde has now become very patient. He's just like laying by the front door, just waiting for me to feed him. So I am going to go. But thank you for hanging out with me today. And thank you for rambling with me today and waxing philosophical today and just talking about random stuff today. It was fun. I appreciate it. I also took notes for all the things that you guys would like for me to do videos on. I will take that stuff into consideration. So thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the super chats as well, for those who sent those. And I love you guys so much. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. My plan for tomorrow, again, I'm doing the New Moon Leo live on Patreon at 2 p.m. Pacific. I do plan at some point to do this Mercury retrograde video, whether it's tomorrow or Sunday. And then I'm also doing signs this weekend as well. And again, patrons will have early access to all that stuff. And then it will post throughout the week on YouTube after the fact. Okay? Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I know I'm going to see some of you guys tomorrow on Patreon. And I hope you have an amazing night and or morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye, guys. Oh, Kendra, thank you. You got that in right under the wire. Thank you so much for the $20. That is very, very generous of you. Thank you. And I love the little unicorn and the fairy. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to go. Have a good night, guys. Take care. I know. I'm going.